One of my quests is to explain politics, not particularly side, although you know where I'm siding at the moment, because a lot of people don't have the time to research it and it's complicated. Well, they want it to be complicated, it's not. They just present it that way. But one problem we have on the right is that we have 15 right wing parties all telling you that they should be the one, all run by men who think they should be the leader. Now, if it was me and I was running a small political party that was going nowhere, especially if I've been at it 10 years or so, I'd think to myself, well, I'm obviously going nowhere, no matter how much I believe in what I believe in. And bearing in mind, most of the right-wing parties believe in the self-same, pretty much the self-same structure: freedom of choice, freedom of speech, free markets, more policing, better hospitals, better school places, less immigration, build more houses. They all believe that. They all believe the same big stuff. So if it was me, what I would do, I would look at the marketplace of political parties and think, right, which one's got a chance of winning? Because we all know right now in this current climate, the one that's got the chance of becoming a government without a shadow of a doubt is Reform. That's not me saying that. That's the polls, that's the media, that's the party that's getting all the attention. So why can't these smaller parties, who know they are not going to get anywhere, come to some arrangement whereby, come a next election, instead of standing as the leader of something that's going nowhere, stand as a candidate for the Reform Party, knowing full well that you can bring your brand of politics to that party and they'll probably let you do it because they're all in so much agreement on everything. It's madness. So all these people that are good in their own right, Dr. Tek Kong could be a great health minister, but he needs a party to do it, and it's not going to be the ADF party, the Alliance for Democracy and Freedom party that he heads. It's not going to be them. It's not going to be the Heritage Party. It's not going to be the Homeland Party. It's not going to be UKIP. It's not going to be the Time Party. I seriously doubt it's going to be anything to do with Ben Habib's new party, and I can't remember the other parties that are involved, but there's 15 altogether. So my way of doing it would be for me to compromise my position, to shelve it for the sake of my country, because it is that serious. There isn't time for ego in this. And what I see, especially starting a new party right now, I see that as ego. You can dress it up however you want. You can come out with all the schmooze, I'm doing it for my country. Setting up another political party is ego. So that's how I see it. That's what I would do if I was running a small political party. I would get in so I could bring my brand of politics into a wider arena. Now imagine you do that, you get in, because really you've come from a little party and you've decided to dump the badge, stand for Reform and get yourself a seat. Because that's the one that's getting all the publicity, and what you don't need people like me and you listening and talking about this. You need all those people out there, all those apathetic people that don't take any notice about politics. You need them to have something to vote for, and they're not going to vote for a small party. They are not going to vote for something they go, who's that? Never heard of him. No, but if you've suddenly got that badge that's been hammered home on the TV set, that turquoise badge hammered home day in, day out, people, a good social media team putting stuff out day in, day out, they'll gravitate to what they're familiar with. It's that simple. And you don't have to compromise yourself that much, because all of them believe in the same things on all the big stuff. They're aligned. Imagine you get the seat. You could then bring your own brand of politics. You could do it your way, because there's no party whip. There's no history that you have to follow, because it's all brand new. And not only that, the Reform Party is the party that's pushing direct democracy, which is referendum, which is the people deciding and choosing on big stuff. So it comes almost irrelevant which party is in. So hanging on to your small party logo and your small party identity, to me, is utterly foolish. I want you to know how I'm thinking, the people listening to this now, because it is ridiculous. It is way too late in the day to sit there on your egos, thinking that you're going to be the one. Because some of them have been at it for years, and we have to admit UKIP has declined. It's gone downhill. And it's these small parties are just going to fracture the voting potential. The wider audience, the people who aren't listening to me, the people who aren't talking to you, those who aren't following politics will decide the fate of this country. They will decide because there's so many of them. We on the right are 5 million at best. 4 million voted in the last election. So even if everybody voted, and not everybody does, shed loads of people who support Tommy, who don't vote, who think it's a waste of time, because they tell me. So even if everybody voted, we're up at 5 million. You can't win an election on that. You need 10 to 12 to 14 to win an election. You need 350 seats to get through. So if these people who are good people running these independent parties actually stood with a Reform badge on just for the sake of getting a power base, surely they could sort it out backwards. And imagine if someone like Dr. Tek Kong got in because he wore a Reform badge instead of his ADF badge. And he got in. He's a doctor, he's a GP, he knows all about what went wrong in lockdown. He's got the receipts. Imagine if they made him health minister. Imagine that. Imagine how strong we could be with someone like David Curtin from Heritage Party, who's been on the London Assembly for so long. Imagine if they could make him something within the government pertaining to London. Imagine the knowledge he'd have. Imagine if these men would just work together instead of spitting the dummies out and having rows and walking away thinking they can do better. Because that's what's happened with two quite high profile people. One started a party, one started a lobby group. One started a party and a lobby group. And I'm sorry, but the reason it annoys me so much is I've sat here for 10 years now. I did not expect to be doing this with my life. I've set a life up I don't want to leave. I love my home, my husband, my dogs. I love what I'm doing. I can pay my bills. I don't want anything else. I'm not sat here yearning to go to Vietnam. I'm not sat here wanting to go to Wimbledon. I'm sat here wanting to sit where I sit, which is right here. I'm fortunate. I've set a life up I don't want to leave. But I've interrupted it to do stuff like this, and I've done it because people deserve to understand politics better than they do. Because they want to keep you out. The political bubble don't want you to understand politics. The Emily Maitlises, the Ed Miliband's, they don't want you to understand what's going on. They want you to accept their mindless sound bites and shovel shit on us every day of the week. That's what they do. They just shovel propaganda and narrative that they treat as fact, and it's not fair. And what we should have is better representation. And I'm angry with all of them, the small party people. I'm angry that they cannot see the sense. They hang on to this identity that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant about your small parties to me, because I'm fighting for the damn country. I'm fighting to try and wake everybody up so they understand just how close to the edge we are. And if you lot helped, instead of being selfish and promoting yourselves and hoping you get the slot on GB News and you get the slot on Talk Radio and you get the slot on LBC, if you just work together as a team and said, look, we've got to do this, because the chances of you getting seats under your own right are really, 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 really low. In fact, probably zero. And that's what disappoints me. So if you think I'm wrong, that's okay. And if you've got your favourites, that's absolutely fine. But don't expect to change your government. Don't expect any change. Expect these two control freak parties to keep swapping the baton between themselves until we end up in a position after 2029 when we don't get a choice in anything. That's what will happen.